Hey, TNT here. All right, so winter is set in. We're at the latter parts of November here in BC. Hoping for a mild winter. Snow's starting to come down in the mountains. Before long, it's going to be on the ground, which really limits my ability to be able to come outside and work on the bikes. So hopefully I get a lot of days like today. Today is probably about 5 or 6 degrees outside, gets down to about 0 at night. But the 4 hours that I would have an opportunity to work outside, the temperature is actually not that bad. So I picked up a project earlier in the year, and it was to basically be a fix and flip, to make a little bit of money so that I can put it towards the other projects. It's an aluminum frame bike. I don't plan on restoring aluminum frame bikes. I find that they all kind of look the same. The old metal frame bikes, there was a lot of change over the years, whether it be with graphic colors or whether it be with engine design or suspension design, and then later on I find that all of the bikes kind of just blend together and look the same except for the color differences between brands. All right, so let's go back and have a look at what I've got back here. Now I will say one thing about this bike. It is a transition year, okay? It is a 97. It is the year that Honda went from the steel frame to the aluminum frame, which, you know, might be a good restoration project, but right now with the other projects that I have on the go, like the 1990 CR125, this one would have to be on the back burner. And I may. It has a lot of good parts. I haven't really looked at anything. I basically bought the bike and put it into storage right away. So you're getting one of the first views of everything on this bike as well as what I've got in the bin. All right, so let's have a look at it. Okay, so here we have a 1997 CR250. The bike's in pretty good shape. I mean, the plastic needs to be replaced, but aside from that, there's one little gouge there in the aluminum frame. Not a lot of gouging or anything on the swing arm. No deep scratches back there. Sprocket's in good shape. It's got an O-ring chain on it. Sideways movement, there's really nothing, so the chain's in good shape. It's got a really nice FMF turbine core 2 on it without any damage to it at all. I don't see any scratches, dents, or nothing. Come over to this side of the swing arm. Everything's in really good shape. No deep scratches or anything. Rim's got some rust on it, but aside from that, it's really in restorable condition. I don't see any dents or anything in it. Tank is in good shape. A couple of superficial scratches on the side and up on the top that I can easily remove. The Kickstarter is perfect. Locks right into place. No real movement in it. No rebuild necessary on that. I see it's got a mark here on the aluminum frame too. I'm not sure. I guess maybe that is caused by the shroud, the rad shroud. Design flaw by Honda. Nice little mark over here too. I would imagine that's also from the side panel rubbing in that area, because I can't see anything else that would cause that. It's definitely not from a crash. It's got some nice handlebars on it. Pro taper pad. Clutch lever looks to be broken. Got to replace that. Front brake looks good. Let's just have a look at the fork guards here. Fork guards are actually in good shape. Just go around the front rim. I don't see any dents on this side of the front rim anywhere. A little bit of rust on the spokes. It can easily be cleaned up. Okay. Let's have a look at what we got in here. So I threw a bag over it just to protect the inside. The crank seems to be moving fine, but does not feel good. Does not feel good at all. You can see that somebody put some oil down in here. Let's see if I can give you guys a better view of the oil that's in there. Somebody put some oil in there to try and free it up, but I can feel it. It's not the connecting rod bearing, it's actually the crank bearings themselves. They feel horrible. All right, so there's probably chunks of piston or something in there, would be my guess. We're gonna find out here in a second when we have a look in the bin. The front forks are in really good shape. I'm not sure if they need fork seals. I don't see any leaking oil or anything coming out of them, but the anodizing is just mint. No scratches on them anywhere. So here's the bin of parts. Let's start going through it. Okay, so plastic is not going to matter. This side panel, although, is easily restorable. I'll probably hang on to these anyway and restore them. We'll see what the cost of the plastic is first. Let's have a look at the seat here. That seat's in great shape. Oh, no, my mistake. So the seat has got some damage in the cover here. For a fix and flip, it's really not a concern. We'll probably just leave that the way that it is. If that's what I determine I'm going to do with this bike, is just fix and flip it. Honorary Texan. I'm not sure if this bike is an American bike or if it's a Canadian bike. Okay, now we'll have a look at this. This rod shroud is in fine condition. I'll probably just flip the bike with this plastic on it now that I'm looking at it and seeing that the plastic is in pretty good shape. It doesn't make any sense. I'll definitely get a new rear fender. You can see the fender's messed up here, but a new rear fender is pretty cheap, you know, about 30 bucks, rather than dropping 250 into a kit. So we have a damaged rad. Okay, well, we'll definitely have to look into getting one. This is really bent up. It's broken all the way along this side. It's been JB welded. So I will just take everything off of this and we'll be getting rid of that rad. So there's something I would have to get for sure. What do we got down in here? We got the carburetor. All right, so let's have a look at the carb. Well, that's not nice. See that right there? That is the intake side from the air filter, and we got caked in dirt there. It's not healthy for a carburetor or an engine. Okay, now let's have a look at the pipe. Okay, so we have an FMF gnarly Gold Series pipe here. It's got a pretty nasty dent there. I know some people I can drop this off with and they'll fix that up for me. We want to have a look at the piston here and find out what happened in this bike. Okay, so on the intake side, everything looks pretty good. This up here is not pitting or anything, it's just from sitting in this bin. Got a little damp, but I do see a mark right there, and I see another mark right there. I'm wondering if maybe there's no pieces of the piston missing. I'm thinking that with the marks that are on it right there, they don't look like detonation, they look like actual little indents and maybe some breakage. And then there's a fairly good mark along there. I'm thinking that what happened with this motor is I could be mistaken about the crank rod bearing. I'm thinking a defective crank rod bearing. Okay, here we go. Let's have a look inside. All right, well, I don't know if you can see it inside there. Something definitely, hang on here, can get you guys a better view of the inside. So something was definitely flying around in there. That is not detonation. That is definitely a piece of something that was flying around. This bike does not have an exhaust bridge, right? It's got just the exhaust valve on that side. There's no serious damage to the cylinder that I can see. Definitely needs some work done to the head or a new head because of that damage in there. I could probably clean that up. Okay, so that is that. there's the top rod bearing. And, you know, other than it's all dirty and caked with crap from lying in the bottom of this box, I don't see anything wrong with it. This is, you know, a nice looking bike. It's worthy of having that engine repaired and putting back together. I'm just going to have to do a cost analysis on a new crank, new bearings, bottom end kit, basically. I think that's roughly about $400. I bought the bike for $400, so that would have me in for $8. And then to get this cylinder redone is probably about $80, I think. And then I would need a new piston, which is probably about $100. So let's just say through $200. So $400 for the crank and bottom end kit, and then $200 for the piston and replating on the cylinder. So now I'm into the bike for $1,000. Need to get a new rear fender. Need to get a new rear tire for it. I think I actually have a tire. No, you know what? I got rid of it. So I'd have to get another tire. I could probably pick a used tire up for about $50. So now I'm at $1,050. Need a new front number plate. It's going to be about $30. So $1,080. Let's say a decal kit for the bike. Probably about another, I don't know, $70. So now we're at what, $1,150? Is that what I was at? I think $1,150. Need some new grips. It's going to be about $20. That clutch perch. Say some more odds and ends. We'd be at $1,200. Okay. Now let's just throw another $200 at it because of other odds and ends that I might find on the bike. I'm now at $1,400. This bike resale with everything that I just said is probably only going to net me, say, between $1,600 and $1,800. So my profit is somewhere between $200 and $400. And that's not including all the time that I'm going to have to put into this bike. They just don't sell for much more than that. In prime time, season, early spring, or pardon me, late spring, early summer, I may be able to get $2,000 for this bike after taking it out and doing a nice video on it at the track. And, you know, keeping all the receipts and everything so everybody can see what was actually put into the bike. And if the bike runs tremendously well, maybe $2,000. All right, so that's going to wrap it up with the fix and flip 1997 CR250R. I'm going to go in the house now, crunch some numbers, figure out what I'm going to do with this bike, whether or not it's going to be just tear it all down and sell it for parts, or if it's going to be to actually rebuild the engine, put a bit of money into this bike, put it back together, and go out and ride it and see what it's like. I mean, I've never ridden a 1997 CR250. I've heard horror stories about them, saying it was the worst year that was ever made, but it wouldn't, you know, be bad to actually go out and try it myself. So I want to thank everybody for coming and watching my channel. Please leave some comments, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, share it with your friends, and I'll catch you next video.